Hey everyone, so we are going to be talking about transforming functions. And what I mean by transforming is we're going to move functions like left, right, up, and down, but always start with the same graph. So we're going to fill in this table right here on the slide 2 of your assignment together, but I want to show you why these actually work. So I'm going to start with this one called the absolute value. So what I've done over here is I've typed in the absolute value of x as a graph, okay? And then what happens is, notice how there is this letter B on the inside with X. And let's watch what happens as B changes. So as B gets bigger, it goes to the left. And as B gets more negative, it goes to the right. So see how it's just moving the whole thing left and right like this? That's what the number inside the two absolute values does. And let's pause it for a second. And I'm going to change B to like a whole number so it's easier to see. If B is 3, it normally starts here in the middle. So if I make it 0 again, it starts there. And if B is 3, it moves it to the left. If B is negative 3, it moves it to the right. Or if it's negative 5, it moves it to the right 5. If it's positive 5, it moves it to the left 5. So basically what I'm saying is, for the number inside, if it is negative, it's going to go to the right. I like mine in all caps better because it's easier to read. And if it's positive, it goes to the left, which might be backwards from what you think, okay? Because normally the values work the other way. Then, if I come back here, I'm going to change that back to the middle. And if I change C, watch what happens. The graph is going up and down, and up and down. So let's try a positive number for C. This has moved the graph up 3. If I make that negative 3, it has moved the graph down 3. Or if I make it negative 5, it's moved the graph down 5. If I make it positive 5, it's moved the graph up 5. So if it's positive, it's going to go up on the outside. If it's negative, it's going to go down. So basically, you're going to be looking at two things. Is the number part on the inside of the absolute values or the parentheses, or is it on the outside? If it's on the inside, it can change the right and the left. If it's on the outside, you can only make it go up and down. And which direction it picks is based off of whether it's a minus or a plus. Okay, and you can add that if you want to up there. You don't have to, though. And then what we're going to do is talk about the parent functions. So a parent function is what you start with. Here's how you'd graph them. If I go to say x equals negative 2, the absolute value of negative 2 is 2. So I put my point there. Then I'm going to go to negative 1. Well, the absolute value of negative 1 is 1. So I'm basically just plugging in the x value into the absolute value. And then the absolute value of 0 is 0, so it's right here in the middle. That's why this graph that we were talking about over there starts in the middle. And then I'm going to keep going to the right. The absolute value of 1 is 1, and that's what makes it go back up. And then the absolute value of 2 is 2. So what you have here is like a little V. Okay, and I don't need you to connect these with a line, but I will draw one for you just so you can see. If you want to, you can go to the little line tool and pick scribble. And I'm going to start over here and make it go down and back up. So it should look kind of like a V. Now I'm going to pick purple for mine. Okay. Then we have what's called a quadratic. Quad means 2 because you have 2 quads on your legs. Okay, a lot of people think it means 4. because of quadrants, but quadrants are splitting the x's up into 2 and the y's up into 2. That's why it ends up being 4. It's because you have 2 variables with 2 halves. Okay, but you're splitting them both up into positives and negatives. So quad means 2. So if you look, it's got a little 2 on the x, which we've seen before. That's x squared. And to graph this one, I'm going to do the same thing, but instead of taking the absolute value of the x's, I'm going to square them. So like here, negative 2 squared is 4. So I'm going to go up to 4. Negative 1 squared, or negative 1 times negative 1, is 1. Keep in mind that when you square a number, it's going to end up being positive, because if it's negative, the negatives cancel. 0 times 0, or 0 squared, is 0. So look, they both have a point right there in the middle. And then 1 times 1 is 1 squared, or 1. And 2 times 2 is 4. So we're just plugging in different numbers to get the y value. And this one, as you can tell, doesn't make a nice V, but it's got a little bit more stretch to it. It makes a U shape like this, which is technically called a parabola. I'll go with blue this time. Like that. And both of these lines go on forever. What I need you to know for today is absolute value, which by the way has a V in it, makes a V shape. And quadratic with the x squared makes this U shape. I'm not going to make you guys graph the points today. I'm just going to make you guys move them. Okay? So let me go through and do a couple examples with you. Here we go. So over here we have, there we go, a number inside. This number on the inside is going to go left or right, and I'm going to come back to my table. It's a minus on the inside. Well, a minus on the inside is right. So this one would be going right 7. And then there's a plus 2 outside of the absolute values. A plus on the outside is up. So just keep referring back to that table, and it's actually pretty easy, guys. You have to pay attention to 2 things. Is it a plus or a minus? Is it on the outside or the inside? So then over here, we only have one number. It's a 5. That is a plus on the inside. And a plus on the inside, maybe, inside plus goes to the left. So this one would just be left 5. That's it. This one only has a plus on the outside. And a plus on the outside, just like this 2, is going up. So this one would just be up 6. Okay? So you're just following the rules of that table we typed, and that's it, guys. Pay attention to whether it's positive or negative, inside or outside. Okay, then we're going to graph each function by dragging one of the parent functions. So, for example, on this one, it's got the little 2, so that means I need the U-shaped graph like this. Okay? And then we're going to list our transformations first. A plus on the inside. Inside plus. That's this one. Left. So that's left 2. And it's got a minus on the outside. Outside minus is down. So that's going to go down 1. Then I'm going to bring this graph over, and where it's supposed to start is right, let me see if I can get this lined up right. And you don't have to do this every time. You can kind of visually see it. It's supposed to start in the middle at 0, 0. So like right here. And what we need to do is move it to the left 2 and down 1. So my new middle point should be right here. So I'm going to move it left 2 squares and down 1. Always focus on the middle point because it's supposed to be, hang on, a little bit more. There we go. It's supposed to be here. Okay, I'm going to add a little point right there just so you can see where it was supposed to be. Right there. Okay, so this point has been moved left 2, down 1. That's it. Okay, so both of these graphs start at 0, 0. And you're going to move that bottom point in the middle left and down, or right and up, or just left or just right, whatever your rules tell you to. This one has only a plus on the inside. A plus on the inside, just like this 2, is left. So this graph is just going to move left 4. I'm going to grab this function and drag it to where it's supposed to be, which is in the middle, right there, and move it to the left 4. So that there we go. This point right here is left 4 from where it started right here. So I'm not really focusing on these points because they follow along with the middle one. The whole thing is one big shape, and you're just moving that shape to left 4. You could technically focus on one of the other points, but it's easier to focus on this one because it's in the middle. Okay? And then the last thing that I'm going to kind of cover really quick is down here, you want to match. So like this minus on the inside is a right. Minus on the inside goes to the right. So it's going to go right 4. And then the plus on the outside goes up. So I'm going to drag one of the up 2's right there. Okay? And then you're going to do that with all of these too.